how the story goes, we find out by the treasure in the grand line, there's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing, I'll be king of the pirates, I'm gonna be king.
Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Today I bring to you the ultimate Blast Dash Gunlance guide. All combos in a tier list, as this video is a guide for the new Blast Dash Gunlance style customization. I'm going to go over all the combos and mechanics of Blast Dash because there's a whole lot of them. And I'm also going to cover the best Gunlances for this style via a tier list. So stay tuned. Alright, first we're going to start off with how to Blast Dash. Here's how you blast off a cowabunga your way to victory. Say tap, hold, and release, and by swiping after you release, you'll go in certain directions. So if you swipe right, you'll go left. If you swipe left, you'll go right. And if you don't swipe, you'll go straight. And the longer you charge, the further you'll travel with Blast Dash. So as you see on these examples, the longer you charge your thing, the farther you will go. And here's the mechanics for Blast Dash. You will deal damage if you've hit the monster while Blast Dashing. So if you saw right there, when you collide with a monster, you will do damage. This will do elemental damage and can inflict status buildup for status Gunlances. So yes, it does an element or status buildup. And tapping or swiping in the air will perform various actions. So while you're in the air, again, tapping or swiping in the air is going to do some various actions. So you're going to do a lot of things. We'll start off with Blast Dashing or the Ground Splitter. Well, we're going to start off with a Blast Dash aerial attack. So there's two actions that happen. If you tap in the air, you're going to be able to do the aerial shell. And if you swipe up, you're going to do the aerial smash. Here's an important note though, aerial smash will reload 1 ammo in your gun lance, but you have to be in the air. So you must be in the air for you to reload, just keep that in mind. Aerial shell will launch you in the air slightly, and you can use aerial shell to dodge monster attacks, but it's only a little bit, so I wouldn't recommend it. In addition, aerial smash sends you back to the ground and into ground combos. Speaking of combos, we're going to go over how to use ground splitters. So here's a note, using ground splitter increases shelling damage by 15% for 25 seconds. The tip of your gun lance will glow orange, as you see here. And there are 5 combos to ground splitter. The lateral thrust combo, as you see right here, which is pretty simple. You swipe up, and you swipe up again. Basically swipe up 3 times. Next, you have the rising slash combo, where you tap, you hold, you swipe up, and you swipe up. If you do not tap and hold, you won't rising smash. So tap, hold, and then that's how you know you're doing rising smash by this motion right here, the overhead smash. And then, after your final swipe, you will do the ground splitter. As you see, you travel quite a distance. We're going to go over that later. For number 3, we have the aerial burst combo, where you tap, hold, release, tap, you tap, and then you swipe up after you land. So here, you tap, hold, release to Blast Dash. And then you will tap, so that you shall in the air. You tap again. And then you swipe up after you land, and you shall do the ground splitter. And this brings us to number 4. For your combo number 4, you have the aerial smash combo, where you will tap, you will hold, you will release to Blast Dash as usual. You swipe up, and then you swipe up again. This is great. Again, here you see right here, you tap, hold, release, you will Blast Dash. You swipe up to do the aerial smash, and then after you aerial smash, you will ground splitter. Just a note, as you see, your gun lance is turning glowing right there. That's how you get that reload off. And then you will ground splitter right here. And for the remaining combos, for number 5, actually this is the remaining combo, you have the aerial smash burst combo. This is basically the same as the last one, but you will add the full burst attack onto it. So you blast off in the air, like like Team Rocket, and then you will swipe up, you will tap, and then you swipe up, and then you will complete combo number 5, the aerial smash burst combo. Now, ground splitter actually has some details, so this is why we have ground splitter mechanics. So knockbacks are negated when you use ground splitter. This doesn't mean recklessly leave yourself in front of the monster whenever it's about to knock you back. No, be very careful. And you can infinitely loop ground splitter from the overhead smash attack by swiping up as much as you want. So if you keep swiping up, as you see here, you can loop it and over again. And this allows you to move in and out or switch from a planned attack. So if a monster's about to hit you, you can reposition. Also, if the monster's going to run away from you, as you see, ground splitter moves you a good distance. So you can use it to chase a monster if it runs away from you. And you're going to see an example with the Great Gyros later in this video. But we have to look at how to use a Wyrmstake cannon. So Wyrmstake cannon is the cream of the crop where you insert the stick and then you do all of this damage. So there's 6 combos to the Wyrmstake cannon. First, right here, the lateral thrust combo. It's super simple. Swipe up, and swipe up. You tap, you insert stick into monster's butt, and you make it blast up like Team Rocket. If you know that reference, you're cool and we can be friends. But yes, right there. Next up, you have the Rising Slash Burst combo. Remember, you have to tap and hold, which is the first 2 steps, and then swipe up. Otherwise, you ain't gonna do the Rising Slash. So remember, tap, hold, swipe up, and then you complete the combo. So tap, hold, swipe up, Rising Slash, swipe again, forward smash, you tap again to do the full burst, as you see right here, and then you tap again, and here is the Wyrmstake cannon. Inserting it into this poor sandbag like Super Smash Bros. So that we may train on a daily basis. If you know, you know. And this brings us to the third combo, the Rising Slash Ground Splitter combo. Tap, hold, swipe up again, you swipe up the Ground Splitter, and then you will tap to insert into the booty. Basically, you're not going to full burst, and you're going to Ground Splitter instead. So again, tap, hold, swipe up, otherwise you ain't going to do the Rising Slash. So tap, hold, swipe up, Rising Slash, type up, forward smash, swipe up again, air Ground Splitter, and then you tap to finish off this combo. And then here you go, Wyrmstake inserted, and then you go ahead and complete the combo. This brings us to combo number 4, which is the Aerial Smash Ground Splitter combo. So you're going to do this one in the air. You tap, hold, release. You blast dash. You swipe again up so that you may go ahead and smack yourself to the ground. You swipe again a Ground Splitter, and then you tap again. So again, you tap, hold, release. This will allow you to blast dash. After you swipe up again, you'll go ahead and you will Aerial Smash. You swipe up again, Ground Splitter, and then after that, you tap, and this will allow you to complete number 4, the Aerial Smash Ground Splitter combo. And as you see right here, it does some sweet damage. This brings us to the last of the 2 combos, Aerial Burst combo. You tap, hold, you release, you tap, and you tap again. This is where you do the burst in the air. This is one of your primary ones. Again, you tap, hold, release to blast dash. Then you're going to tap again. This will cause the aerial shell, which floats you in the air. You tap again. There's aerial burst swing with aerial burst. And then you tap again, and there's the Wyrmstake cannon. Again, this is kind of like the primary one you're going to use, as it's the one that launches you in the air and lets you use the burst swing. And the final combo, the Aerial Burst Ground Splitter combo. The longest one. You tap, you hold, you release. You tap again. You tap again. You swipe up, and then you tap. So you use the Blast Dash by tap, hold, and releasing. You tap again. This gets the aerial shell. You tap again to aerial burst swing and aerial burst. You'll swipe up to perform the Ground Splitter, and then you tap again, and this will get you to the back of the monster where you can insert the Wyrmstake into the booty. And Launch Stick does damage, hopefully paralyzes or poisons it, or whatever status affliction it is, and then you finish him off. And this is how you Wyrmstake cannon cancel. So if you are about to get yeeted before you insert the stick, you can go ahead and cancel before it fires. All you have to do is swipe left, right, or down after your gun lance hits the target. So right here, once it hits the target, just swipe left, right, or down. You can't swipe up. I tried it already before. You can't do it. But by doing this, it will cancel your Wyrmstake, and then you can go ahead and dodge. This will still keep your Wyrmstake loaded, though, so you can save it for when the monster is more vulnerable. Again, doesn't use your Wyrmstake, so keeps it in you. So you could use it for later, which is awesome. And this brings us with how you use Full Burst. And there are 3 combos to Full Burst. Thankfully, it's not like 7 or 8. Number 1, it's the Standard Burst, where you tap, you hold, you swipe up, and you tap. So this is the Rising Slash one, which is the actual Standard Burst you can use without style customization. Next, you have the Aerial Burst, where you tap, hold, release, you tap again to do the Aerial Burst swing, and then you tap again to burst. And again right here, Blast Dash, you tap again, Aerial Burst swing, and there's the Aerial Burst / Full Burst. And for the final one, you have the Aerial Smash Burst. Tap, hold, release, and then after that you swipe up, and then you tap. Pretty simple. This is probably the one this is the fastest way to get to it after the Blast Dash. So again, swipe up, and then all you do is release after you Blast Dash, and bam, you finish combo number 3. And this brings us to the Perfect Dodge, and here's the mechanics. So Perfect Dodging actually gives you 3 buffs. It will reload one of your ammo, so you see right here, when you Perfect Dodge, you'll see that reload your ammo, even though mine is empty. And you could tap, hold, and release to instantly Blast Dash. Normally you have to charge first, but this will give you an instant ability to Blast Dash. And lastly, for number 3, if you perform an Aerial Smash where you swipe up, it will reload all your ammo, and this lets you just dump a full clip with a full burst. So you see right here, there's a reload ammo. Bam! Right there's a reload, tap, full burst. Now we covered all those crazy combos, here's some tips and tricks. Now the aerial shell sends you slightly in the air so you can use it to position / dodge an attack. Here's an example right here. It's only slightly, so I wouldn't over rely on this. I think blast dashing is actually safer because you can use that to dodge and reposition as well. Here's an example, bam. Use that little aerial ump right here, I'm able to dodge the Great Gyros attack. And here's the example with the Blast Dash to reposition. Right here, you have Blast Dash, so I could go to the side, and then after that, I dodge the bite attack from Palumu. So, allowing me to reposition right here, aerial smash, and now I'm at the side, avoiding that attack, and I'm in a great position so that I can use the Wyrmstake shot. Do not underestimate the range of Wyrmstake cannon. You can catch a monster with it at some crazy pretty ranges if you get it good enough. So right here, as you see, even though Nightshade Palumu is zipping around, Wyrmstake cannon, bam. And this is it. This is my best example right here. Whapam! Look at the ground you cover with Wyrmstake cannon. Like, after that, right there. Another big one is that, as you see, make sure you practice with this. That's the big one. By practicing, you'll be able to use Wyrmstake cannon like a super expert. And one of the sweetest tricks of the Blast Dash Gunlance is that paralysis and poison exploit actually increases shelling damage, making paralysis and poison Gunlances the strongest / best ones to use. Anybody that's telling you to be careful, not use these, they have no idea what they're talking about. Do not listen to them. They really don't have any idea what they're talking about. As you see right here, with regular shelling, 1493. But when you have Para Exploit 2, it's 2612. That's a lot of damage added up. So what happens is that you could Wyrmstake shot, and then you could paralyze the monster, go instantly burst, and you're going to do a ton of damage. Again, don't listen to anybody that tells you be careful when you use status Gunlances. It's because either 1, they can't make it, or 2, they have no idea what to talk about, or 3, they just don't do their homework. Probably all 3. This makes it so that the best shelling type for Blast Dash is normal for full burst spams. So normal Gunlance for Blast Dash is actually the best shelling type because you can do all this damage, especially stack it up with the paralysis and poison exploits. This brings us to the typical strategy when you engage with the Blast Dash Gunlance. 2 ways to initially engage the monster. 1, you use Blast Dash, of course. You're going to Blast Dash your way to close distance / circle around the monster depending how far you're from it, and then you will go in and attack. The second version, or the second approach, is to use lateral thrust ground splitter combo to get behind the monster. This one's easier just because you get behind the monster. Just be aware of your range. As you see, getting behind the Puke right here in order to Wyrmstake shot. Again, be careful because you can get tail smashed and whacked by the monster if you're not watching or if you don't know your monster attack patterns well. Make sure you reposition when you're needed. Take advantage of ground splitter shell buff when you can. Remember, you get that 50% boost for 25 seconds whenever you ground splitter. So, in a sense, using the ground splitter to initially boost is actually good. But at the same time, again, it just depends on 1, the side of the monster, and 2, whichever attack you are dodging. Reposition when need to. Be patient. Yes, you really want to stick up the booty, but Wyrmstake cancel and this extra movement is there for a reason. This really fixes the problem of the Gunlance because Gunlance is what really makes it hard to use without Blast Dash is its movement. This solves that problem completely. So Blast Dash is amazing, and in my opinion, it is definitely the best of the 2 style customizations you can choose for the Gunlance. And this brings us to the best Blast Dash Gunlance tier list. This list will include Deviljho since it will be releasing in the near future, or 2 weeks after this video. For the D tier, which is Do Not Build, Barioth, Tobigadachi, and Gyrototis. Barioth is the weakest. Wide shell, low raw at 10.5, and a terrible weapon skill with defense boost. Please do not build this. If you do build it, or someone says they're going to build it, they have no idea. They're really bad. No, seriously, they're really bad at the game because all it takes is for one of the better raw ones to come out, and it's instantly eclipsed. Along with that, Tobigadachi is wide. It has a good status value, but the shelling type isn't great for Blast Dash. Same thing with Gyrototis. Good stat value, but again, shelling type not great for Blast Dash. This brings us to C tier, which is still Do Not Build. Don't build this. This is really, this is still really bad. Anjanath. The thing is, Anjanath carries the same raw elemental value as Tobigadachi and Gyrototis. Fun fact, all 3 of them have the same base value at max. But it's only in this tier because it has normal shelling, which is the best for Blast Dash. Otherwise, it's absolutely terrible. Do not build this. No, seriously, don't do it. If someone builds it and tells you to build it, no, it's really bad. All it takes is for Rathalos to release as a ripboard, and then this thing is instantly just a waste of materials and a waste of your time. Don't do it. Again, if someone builds this, tells you to build it, or uses it, they're really bad at the game. Just don't do it. Next up, we have the B tier, where it's good. And this has Barioth. Now, I know Barioth should be in C, but hear me out here. It has wide shelling, which isn't normal, but it has positive crit. It's the only one so far that has positive crit out of all of the Riftborn Gunlances. So because of this, along with a great weapon skill, it definitely consider building, because this is going to be good for the future. Remember, it's not just all about shelling. Wyrmstake Cannon's a thing. So combine that with Barioth, it's definitely something you could, considerable that you should build. And this shoots us up to the A tier, where it's amazing. So, Rothian has all of the best qualities. You have poison damage, normal shelling type, and the shelling damage, you can increase it by pairing it with poison exploit. The only reason it falls to A is because it's equipment skill. The equipment skill is health boost. You don't need health boost with poison, exploit, etc. So that's the only reason why it drops to A. In addition, you have Devil Joe. Hear me out here. Yes, it has a higher overall raw / elemental value despite having the negative crit. But it has artillery. That's the thing. It does have artillery. But it is long shelling. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact for artillery and the fact of its stats, it would still drop to B. Would you still blast dash it? Would I do it? Yes, I would. Just for the dragon damage. But again, it's for the dragon damage, not for the shelling. So keep that in mind, along with the fact that you can run critical ferocity or some sort of negative crit build with it if it improves in the future. So again, keep that in mind. But what you must keep in mind is there's the GOAT. Because people out there are making content killing 10-star monsters with the Great Gyros Gunlance. Because it really is that good. It is the S tier, the GOATs, and so far so good, we only have the Great Gyros. Great Gyros is the best Blast Dash Gunlance of release. So Blast Dash for sure. It has normal shelling type, the highest raw value for style custom gun lances as far as status goes, good equipment skill that works well with Blast Dash / ground splitter movement, and the Wyrmstake cannon can quickly paralyze a monster. And along with that, again with exploits, paralysis exploit increases shelling damage. You stun, you can go ahead and have plenty of room to do that burst damage out there. It's absolutely amazing. You know, and even the pros in Japan and the pros that are killing centaur monsters knows that status Gunlances, especially the Great Gyros one, is the GOAT. So far. Hopefully this video helps you master the Blast Dash Gunlance style. I'm going to make a separate video for builds, but this is pretty long, so I'm going to keep this short. Please do me a huge favor. Please like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Hopefully you are having a lot of fun with this. I am too. And just like the GOATs in Japan, the pros blasting these things to oblivion using the Great Gyros Gunlance. If you know, you know. And that, oh my gosh, that shelling damage with paralysis exploit is nuts. Again, hopefully you're having fun. Hopefully it's helped you out. Good luck on your grinds. And I will see y'all on the next video. Make sure you make your Great Gyros Gunlances during this event, by the way. I'm not selling this to you, but yes, make those Great Gyros Gunlances. Have a good one, y'all.